I'm starting by drilling a hole into the top of the jar lid, just big enough to put a wooden dowel through. Now in each of these ornaments, I want to drill a hole opposite from the opening, so on the bottom of the ornament. Make sure these are plastic and drill very slowly so you get a nice clean hole and it doesn't crack. Then I'm going to slip the ornaments over the dowel. And then finally I'm going to use a strong glue to attach a jar lid to the very top. And once that glue dries, I'm going to take this outside and spray paint it a metallic silver. They would work really well for Christmas, but honestly, with the disco ball look, these are going to be fun all year round. I picked up some glass candle holders and a pack of plastic spoons. I'm starting by just snipping off the handle of the spoons. Can discard the handle, I want to hang on to the spoon part. Now using some hot glue, I'm just gluing the spoons around the top of the candle holder. I'm going to create about 3 layers here. I want to leave an opening in the center so I could use this for a taper candle, but I also want a flat enough base that I can put a small tea light in there too. Now I want to paint the whole thing. I grabbed some metallic gold spray paint and I spray painted everything, the glass and the spoons, to give it one cohesive look. Now I can add in a taper candle or a tea light, and these are a beautiful, inexpensive candle holder. Let's grab a couple plastic Easter eggs for this next candle holder. Using a thick drill bit, I'm going to drill a hole on either end of the Easter eggs. Then I grabbed a little round wooden base and I drilled a hole in the middle of that as well. I'm slipping a dowel into the hole, and then I can slide the Easter eggs over that dowel. I'm using a large one, a medium one, and then just half of an egg on top. Now I'm using a really strong glue to attach just a jar lid to the top Easter egg. Once dry, I'm going to go take this outside. I'm going to spray paint this a pale pink for spring. And now I have a pair of really pretty kind of Easter themed candle holders, but very subtle and really inexpensive to make.
Head to Amazon to purchase 12 by 10 glass wall mirror tiles. Take mirrors outdoors and lay them on a protective surface. Use water to spray all over the mirrors with a spray bottle, and then take the gold and antique pewter spray paint to spray along the outside edges of the mirror tiles. Allow time to dry and then wipe them off with a towel to see the aged finish. Open the pack of wood slices and pick out 8. Take outdoors to spray paint flat black on both sides. Use a level and painter's tape to create a guide to attach the mirrors in an ordered way on the wall. Take adhesive squares and glue that's included with the mirrors to attach to the back of each tile. Then place along the painter tape guideline and work horizontally and then vertically, applying the tiles securely. Once the mirrors have been attached to the wall securely, take the same glue from attaching the mirrors and use it on the back of the wood slices to place in the inside corners of the mirror tiles.
I went to Home Depot and grabbed a piece of regular plywood. I also grabbed 2 2x8s to use as a cross brace on the back of the plywood to give it some stability, and use contractor screws to screw it in place. I then began cutting my lattice strips to size. Once all the pieces were cut, I began securing them into place with 1-inch brad nails. I used the mirrors as spacers to make sure not only were my boards straight, but they were also the perfect width across. Using a 3/4 by 8 piece of lattice strip, I then secured it to the sides to create a frame. Once my lattice frame was complete, I then began cutting 18 individual horizontal pieces. I then began spray painting. I let this dry for 24 hours to make sure everything was ready to go before I started installing. Then, using a combination of wood glue and liquid nails, I secured each mirror. For this project, I used 12 by 12 mirrors. You can find these in packs of 4 at IKEA or packs of 12 on Amazon.
My first step was going to my local thrift store to buy some inexpensive vases. Then I used Rust-Oleum chalk paint, and I'm going to be using some painter's tape and our Restore Chalky Finish paint. I'm going to be using a little bit of this mounting spray just to help hold the stencil in place. Use my sponge brush, go through and I add more of this pattern around this cylinder vase.
Turn your box of extra table legs and parts into something gorgeous. I'm using contact cement to attach all my pieces together. I want to paint the pieces all white. I want to distress them.
I have some clear plastic Christmas ornaments stuck on some wooden skewers and popped into an old piece of styrofoam. I'm using some Krylon sea glass spray paint.
And I have some nautical netting, and I'm going to put it around the ornaments. I'm just using a little hot glue to secure it at the top. I'm just going to let the glue set, and then I'm going to trim off the tops. To finish off our faux nautical floats, I'm using some jute.
Take a bowl and cover the bottom in plastic wrap. Next, use a sponge brush and Mod Podge. Cover the entire bowl base with Mod Podge on the plastic wrap. Take rope and begin from the center of the base and wind it around towards the outer part of the bowl. Once completely dry, remove rope layer from the bowl and any excess plastic wrap.
Start to paint your pots and saucers with a matte finish paint or chalk paint. Take a paper napkin and separate the 2-ply layers. Draw a circle and cut it out with scissors. Take the saucer and brush the decoupage glue so the bottom and sides of the saucer are covered. Place the paper napkin circle and press down in the center and smooth the napkin out. Dip a small paintbrush in water and brush along the top of the saucer. Add a final layer of decoupage glue. Take a strong adhesive glue and place a ring of glue. Place the saucer on top of the bottom of the pot.
Head to Dollar Tree and pick up 9 small wood crates and stain them with wood stain. Take 3 wood stir sticks and stain them as well. Next, glue the crates together with 3 in a row. Then stack and glue each row to the top of the first row. Cut the stir sticks to the right size and hot glue them to the front bottom of each row of the crates. Add 4 wood beads with hot glue to create a base. Then use a screwdriver to attach the drawer label holders to the stir sticks.
First, we're going to repurpose a 1-gallon glass pickle jar, and then we have some decorative nautical rope. I'm measuring out vertical strips. Now, once I get all of my strips cut, I'm going to start using my glue gun to attach them on the side of the jar. And all I'm doing is I'm evenly spacing these out, and then I'll go in the middle of those sections and put a piece of rope, and then I'll do that, continue on until all 8. And I'm just going to start somewhere and kind of glue in a few places as I'm wrapping around, and then I'll glue the other 2, and it end up being a stack of 3.
I grabbed some mirror paint and thrifted light fixtures. I added a splash of vinegar to a spray bottle with water and lightly sprayed the inside of the glass light fixture. Next, I sprayed the mirror paint on the inside and drained the extra water and paint out. I sprayed the light fixture base black. Once dry, I painted antique gold rub and buff on it, leaving some of the black showing. Once dry, I added battery fairy lights.
First, we're going to spray paint. I'm using Rust-Oleum Satin Heirloom White and Rust-Oleum Stone. We're going to take some painter's tape. You kind of want to rough tear one edge of it. We're going to put this along the bottom. I'm using a craft paint and I'm just using brushed gold. You kind of want to make it look like the paint is kind of tearing and you can see underneath it.
The next time you are at a thrift store, pick up some inexpensive wicker baskets. Dip the paintbrush in the paint and then pounce. Take the brush and lightly brush the paint onto the basket in the main direction of the basket weave. Take a wicker basket with a very light finish. Spray paint the basket in light layers with an oil-rubbed bronze color. Let the basket dry completely. Paint in light layers. You will notice that the paint dries very fast between layers because there is actually very little paint used.
I grabbed a scrap 4x4 from my wood pile and gave it a rough sand on all sides and edges. I evenly spaced out 18 marks, alternating on either side so the marks were staggered. I used a 3/4 inch drill bit to drill holes in each mark. I put painter's tape on the drill bit to know how far to drill for each hole, and sanded the edges of the holes, and then applied pre-stain conditioner. I used a lone sock to apply a dark brown stain of a color I had pre-mixed. While that was drying, I grabbed some white tapered candles and let them soak in very warm water but not boiling. After 5 to 10 minutes, I used a rolling pin to roll out the middle, and then I gently twisted the candle.
So first thing you need to do is find some frames that you like, and you're going to take the glass out. We're going to spray the white vinegar on one side. Grab this really cool stuff by Rust-Oleum and go over top. By using your paper towel and dabbing, it's going to create a design. Spray an even coat of the black paint. We're going to put our glass back into the frames.
The first step is just to make sure this is really clean. To start with, I want to use some gold leaf adhesive. I am just going to let this sit for about 20 minutes. Now we're going to get out the gold leaf sheets. Now you want to use a tweezer and a dry paintbrush with this. As I'm going along, I'm going to use the paintbrush and it's going to pull away any of the excess. And then we're ready to move on to the next step. Now we're going to add some paint, but we're going to paint the inside of this vase.
I sourced a couple things from the Dollar Tree. So I'm going to be using the Rust-Oleum milk paint. We are going to add our hot glue, put it into the corner. So we're going to do this in all 4 corners. So once that kind of sets, we're going to flip it over and do the other side. We are going to be taking our smaller pieces and we're going to be creating an X shape. And then I'm going to come in with my hot glue gun. We are going to glue these together, painting it the same color as we did the other pieces. We are going to hot glue. All right, so we're going to let this dry here for a moment. And that's where this comes into place. Just need this piece. We're going to clip off this piece. We're going to paint it. So now that this is all glued and dried, I'm going to take a little bit of hot glue and I'm going to put it in the hole. Now that we've attached the tumbling tower pieces, so I can go over the edges.